Mr. Vardanian, thank you for this interview. A few days ago, the foreign ministers of Armenia, Arad Mirzoyan and Ceyran Bayramov, met in Washington with the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, and the news from Washington was they made tangible progress on a durable peace agreement. And the agreement is within sight, within reach, the headlines read. And in the 3 days, on May the 14th, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and President Ilham Aliyev will be meeting in Brussels. What is your reaction to these developments, which could lead to a signing of a peace treaty between Armenia and Azerbaijan? And what will all this mean for Artsakh?
First of all, I'm glad to be in your program, and thank you for your interest. Second, I want to say I've always been in favor to any negotiation is better compared to war. That's why all attempts of different international participants trying to bring it to the table to bring the peace agreement. It's great, but let's be realistic. How you can talk about peace agreement whereas the people, unfortunately, have no understanding what's happening on the ground without people in Artsakh, without us being involved in those all negotiation, I don't see any chance to come any peace agreement will be acceptable for Artsakh people. This is why I have a big doubt about paper which will be signed, but how sustainable it will be, how strong it will be, this agreement, who will be guarantor of the delivery of this agreement, and how long this agreement can stay alive if one party of this agreement have a very big aggression to the Artsakh people. Artsakh people not involved, and government of Artsakh not involved in this situation and discussion and negotiation. And at the same time, Armenian government is very weak and they basically said, "But this is not our problem. We cannot do most to Artsakh. We need to defend Armenia to 29,800 kilometers." That's all. That's why I don't realistically expect any positive movement in this direction.
You know, lately the Europeans and Americans seem to be more concerned with the situation in Artsakh. But you, as a concerned Artsakhi Armenian, you as an ex-state minister of Artsakh, your message has been very, very clear, crystal clear, as you stand strong to preserve the dignity of 120,000 Armenians living in Artsakh. And you, of course, demand the freedom of Artsakh. You mentioned red lines. In all your comments, you mentioned red lines that cannot be crossed. What are some of the red lines unacceptable to Artsakh? And what are the motives of the US and Europeans for their recent interest in the region?
Look, I always said it's a problem of Artsakh, it's not for Artsakh Armenians who live in Artsakh, but for the entire Armenian world. And I believe this is a very important point to understand all Armenians who live in different parts of the world. This is not the only fight for life of 120,000 people. Second, the red lines, which I described many times, is not my only position, position of the government, president, and entire society. And this is 6 red lines. First, we need to have a free access to Armenia and back without any restrictions, any limitation, any control. Second, we need to keep our passports. We've never been part of Azerbaijan, and we don't have Azerbaijani citizenship. We don't need to get this. We need to keep our Armenian passport. Third, we need to use our currency. Fourth, we need to use our laws. We have our own legal system, constitutional court, parliament, president, and this needs to be continue being Armenian. The fifth is a very important infrastructure. We need to control our infrastructure. Whatever we supply, gas, electricity needs to be controlled by us. And the last but not least, we need to keep our language, our religion, our culture, traditions, which is very critical for us. That's why this is the 6 key points which we are not allowed to cross anyone.
You know, you hinted at the situation with Armenia. The Armenian government lately hinted that they are prepared to accept Azerbaijan's territorial integrity over Nagorno-Karabakh and the territorial integrity as opposed to self-determination have been the two powers playing around for the past 30 years. What is your take?
Yeah, I think it's a weak position. I don't think it's right for Armenian government go in this direction. Yes, Artsakh, Armenians who lived in Artsakh in 1988 started a movement against being part of Azerbaijan Soviet Republic, and it was self-determination right, which, and by the way, rights for a legal point of view, but being part of Soviet Union, to have a right to exit from the republic, the same like republic has the right to exit from Soviet Union. This is why when the Soviet Union collapsed, Artsakh, Nagorno-Karabakh was not part of the Azerbaijan already, because we've been already by all legal steps out of the Azerbaijan Republic. But now bringing back this whole issue saying, no, you know, this is the different, it's again, it's a very weak position. I understand we have some limitation, we have some issues of the peace. Of course, we have a lot of losses and it was a tough time for us. But give up Artsakh, it's for me the same would give up Armenia.